Hi everyone, welcome back to Youth Voices. I'm your host, Mithra Chebium, and today we're joined by Pravallika Kasam. Pravallika is a junior at the University of Washington studying business with a strong focus on leadership, creativity, and community impact. Alongside her academics, she's the founder of her photography business, Pixels by PK, where she works on creative direction, client strategy, and brand growth. Her work has been featured in the Sammamish Independent, and she's also collaborated with major brands like Tanishq on professional shoots. Outside of business, she's deeply involved in community service and temple work, and she's been trained in Bharatanatyam for over 15 years, guys. She's currently working her training in Kuchipudi while also teaching dance. She brings together creativity, discipline, and leadership in a really unique way. And in this episode, we'll be diving into her journey, how she's balanced all of these paths, made her decisions, and developed clarity while building so much at a young age. So let's get started. Hi, Pravallika. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hi, Mithra. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here today. Hope you're doing well as well.
Yes, I'm doing good, and I'm so excited to have you here today too. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself in your own words and what your main focus is right now?
Yeah, so like you beautifully mentioned, I am a junior at the University of Washington studying business, and I have been involved in various community service and leadership initiatives from a very young age, being part of different temple communities and helping out with their initiatives. So, in terms of my dance, I have been a dancer since I was 6 years old, and it's really a big part of who I am, and I continue to pursue that passion in college, and I hope to continue that even after college. And I think something that stands out to me about myself is my ability to communicate really well. Lots of people have told me that I'm a great communicator, and I think that sorry. Yeah, so something that stands out to me about myself is my ability to communicate with everyone and the amount of effort that I put in to make each person feel valued. Lots of my friends describe me in that way, and I definitely feel like that's something unique about myself. Even lots of my friends' parents also tell me that. I really think that it's what makes me stand out from others.
Yeah, and I think dance is such a beautiful art form. Um, Kuchipudi is amazing, and I think at the same time you did Bharatanatyam, right? Like high schoolers these days, they're really caught up in their own work and they kind of take it as like a second priority when you started when you were 6, you finished, I mean, not really finished Bharatanatyam, but you've mastered it, you've moved on to Kuchipudi, and now I love that you're fully utilizing it because I feel like a lot of high schoolers now, they kind of put that at back seat, they focus on their work, and then they feel like they want to come back, but they're too old, they're 35, 40, right? So I think it's really, I really respect you for having that as your top priority. So that's amazing. And
Okay.
you're also involved in business and community service and with all your academics. And when people first hear that, what do they think, what do you think they misunderstand about your life or your journey?
Well, I guess sometimes people tend to think that I prioritize some things over the other, but I really think that balance is a key, and that obviously comes with practice. Obviously, I'm human, so there are times that I have procrastinated as well, and sometimes where I thought I couldn't do anything. But I think finding the fine balance between your personal life, your passions, and your academics is something that'll really help you get through anything.
Yeah, and I think that I think balance is key is throughout high school, like I have that in my mind. I know I'm just a freshman, but I think throughout my life, actually, balance is so important. Like I said, like the dance part, not only prioritizing that, but also prioritizing other things. It can get hard, but you just have to keep going and going. And at some point, you'll feel really proud of yourself. And actually, tell me about, because you were saying earlier that you did leadership, you taught dance, right? So tell me about a time you had to take leadership in a situation where people didn't really want to be led. What did you actually do in that moment?
So lots of the times my teacher, she lives in India, so her dance school is fully based here and she runs it through India. So she has lots of assistant teachers here and lots of the times other teachers they weren't able to take part in the classes and actually lead a class. So I stepped in and led a class and that led to great recognition from my teacher, which still makes me really proud. And I guess going back to what I said earlier about dance being such a huge part of my life, I feel like that has shaped a lot of who I am today by giving me the confidence, strength, and courage to pursue anything that comes my way.
It's amazing. And I also want to know if there was a decision you made that people disagreed with, but you still chose to stick with it. What made you confident in that choice? I guess what I'm trying to say is like, what does it take to be a teacher? Because there will be people, right? There will be people stopping you. They're just kids, right? So, what would you say?
So I guess in the context of dance, originally, I was told to kind of step away from teaching because again, the part about balance, I was told that I would not be able to balance everything, and as commitments kept piling up, it would be really hard. But since dance is my passion, I followed my gut, and it led to me being a more confident person. And similar to my photography business as well that you mentioned earlier, I was also told not to pursue that, even though I have a supportive community at home. It was the whole thing about balance and how juggling a lot of things could lead to burnout, but I think that's a part of life. You always have to be working on something. And luckily, it was peak COVID by then. School was online, so I had so much time to pursue my passions. And that's where my love for entrepreneurship, photography, and dance really took a hit, I guess.
Yeah. And like taking one moment in your journey, whether it's business, school, dance, really pick anything that really challenged you. Pick something, like it could be any of those things. But tell me, how did it end up teaching you the most? Like, I'm saying, like, what lessons did you learn from it?
I guess kind of like I said earlier, importance of balance, perseverance, and courage. I don't think I can necessarily pick one thing because I think all of these experiences have taught me the same values in their own ways. But the overarching concepts or principles that I've learned through these experiences were balance, commitment, courage, strength, and confidence. And that has improved my management by a lot because I have the worst time management ever. But because of all of these priorities and keeping myself busy, it has actually taught me to learn how to balance everything again. I keep emphasizing balance because I really, really learned how to improve on that. And I think it's just made me feel way better about myself and my ability to do things.
And like you said, right? Like, doing all these different diverse, like all of these things, like dance, school, juggling between your business, leadership, working and volunteering in temples, all of this stuff, we're all like, everything is in the real world. You are learning something or the other, right? So from all of these places, you're learning key lessons. And that's why I think balance is really important because instead of just picking one thing and sticking to that, you can learn a couple of things, but if you have like different topics and different areas that you're in, there's a lot more things you can grasp onto and a lot more things you can learn. So, what's a real setback you've had, and how did you handle it and move forward? What did you tell yourself?
Yeah, so I guess there was a period of time where I wasn't really getting booked for photo shoots, and that kind of lowered my self-esteem, I would say, in a way, because I thought I wasn't good enough. And lots of my friends have also started photography businesses like this, and I was in no way trying to compete with them, but looking at them made me think, what's in them that's not in me. And it kind of led to that imposter syndrome, which sometimes I still do have in general, whether it's academics, personal life, business, whatever. So I think really telling myself to get out of that cycle of imposter syndrome has really, really helped me. And although I'm not 100% there, I do have mentors there to help me. And I've also recently started journaling. So I think writing down what I have accomplished so far really tells me that, hey, it's okay. I have accomplished a lot and you don't need to rush to do things. Everyone has their own timeline. You follow what you want, but take your time, no need to rush, no one's competing with you. So I feel like that has helped me a lot in terms of my mental health as well.
Amazing. That's truly inspiring. And your photography business, the Pixels by PK, it's something you've built while still being a student, right? In high school?
Yeah.
So, what was the moment you realized I can actually turn this into something real? So, I knew you were always passionate about it, but when did it start becoming something that you actually relied on, that you actually like focused on?
Yeah, so a little bit of context on how this all started. So I did start it in high school. Like I mentioned earlier, it was peak COVID. School was online. I had nothing to do at home. I picked up my dad's camera one day and I was like, hey, this is actually really fun. Um, and I thought I would take this to another level. Some of my friends were also starting their businesses at the same time. So all of us had that shared passion to, start something and turn our passions into something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, I guess, taking the next step would probably be when I actually got bookings from real clients that were recommended to me by my friends as well. Because initially I was just doing free portraits for my friends as kind of like a hobby in the initial days, just to see how it went and see if I can actually commit to doing something like this. So when I heard that they recommended me, I was like, yeah, I think this is meant for me.
Yeah. And you've also like, I feel like after you have all of these things going on for you, right? Your academics, dance, all of this stuff, a lot of students, they struggle with the direction and the confidence, right? What helped you develop the clarity about who you are and what you want to do?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of mentors who have helped me on this journey. And I'm really grateful to have a supportive community. So I feel like I've leaned on them a lot for advice, and my recent journaling has also helped me gain clarity on my thoughts.
Yeah, I think I started journaling too, and it's been amazing. And I think it's a really good way to understand yourself, right? Like meditation, journaling, spending time with yourself, right? And our last question, if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing about this journey, what would it be?
Keep going, and everything will fall into place.
So just give it time.
I want to
Amazing.
ask you one question. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this experience. But when you're in times of adversity, what is the that keeps you going?
I think, wow, okay. I think for me, it's really important to be honest that I don't always feel motivated or confident while I'm doing things. There are definitely moments where things can feel overwhelming and I start questioning if what I'm doing is even working. But I've learned that motivation is temporary, so I can't depend on it to carry me. And what actually keeps me going is remembering why I started Youth Voices in the first place. I didn't start it because everything was perfect or because I had everything figured out. I started it because I believe students had stories worth sharing, and I wanted to create a space for that. So when things get hard, I try to go back to that purpose instead of focusing only on the stress of the moment. And I also try not to look at everything as one huge problem. That's usually when I feel stuck. And instead, I break things down into the smallest possible next step, even if it's something simple like sending one message, fixing one detail, or planning just the next segment, I focus on that instead of the entire workload. And that makes it feel more manageable and less heavy. I
Yeah.
think another thing I've also realized is that I don't always have to feel ready to act. Sometimes I just show up, even when I'm tired or unsure, because I know that waiting for the perfect mindset usually just delays progress. And every time I push myself to start anyway, it becomes easier once I'm actually in motion. So
Yeah,
overall, I'd say I keep going by focusing on purpose, breaking things down into small steps, and reminding myself that progress, guys, I'm reminding you too that progress doesn't require perfect conditions, okay? It just requires showing up again and again, even when it's not easy.
yeah, I agree, especially building those habits early on since you are a freshman in high school, correct? I think that's a really important foundation that'll help you for the rest. So good luck with everything.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your story today. I think a lot of students will see parts of themselves in your journey, especially around balancing different passions and building confidence and figuring things out step by step. So, this has been Youth Voices. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.